In this lesson, let's add some final finishing touches on the modeling phase of our car. So maybe the first thing we want to do is create this kind of cut here for the door that we have yet to do. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert an edge loop right where I want that cut to be, and then I'll go ahead and select the edge loop, select edge loop tool, this edge loop right here, and go ahead and delete that. And so now what I'm going to do is take this edge, and I want to create basically 4 edges from this. So I'll go ahead and select that edge all the way down, and I'm not going to follow it all the way under the car. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here and come up the other side. Alright, so let's go ahead and now just bevel this. Let's go ahead and bevel it. Let's change our offset down to something smaller. Maybe something like that. And we want 4 segments. Okay. So that should work. And now we want to go along and select the center segment. Okay, so this is the center one. So I can select the edge loop, and it'll take me all the way around. Alright, so now I can push this in, and let's go ahead and scale it a bit so that it's inside there. And then when we take a look at this, we'll kind of get a nice little indentation there for our door. Okay, and I might not put it in quite so far. I'll give you a nice little seam there, and it still keeps your shoulder line right in there. Okay, if you find that it's not matching up after adding that geometry, you can come in and bring that back up to meet the canopy. Because as we know, when we add geometry, it's going to affect the shape. If we're smoothing it, it's going to affect our shape a bit. Okay. So that's definitely not what we want. We want to get all those points. And we can smooth that to kind of check it out. Okay, so you want to cut out the door, and you can do one on the other side, but I've just put one door here on this side, so I'm just going to leave it on that side, and I'm going to mirror it over so it will be on the other side. Just might not be as functional. And you could always come in and take that out also, or do this after you've mirrored it. Let's go ahead and build some other little pieces that are going to help sell the car as a kind of a believable car. So let's go ahead and create a quick reflector. So we'll just get a cylinder, and let's scale this down. Let's go ahead and change our subdivisions. Okay. We'll grab all those points on the top, scale them down. Let's grab those faces on top, and we'll just do a quick extrude. Something like that. You can insert an edge loop right along there, and maybe also right along here, and delete those faces in the back. And then we've got kind of a little reflector there, so we can put this wherever we want. I'm going to go ahead and put one right up kind of on the front here, make it fairly small. Rotate that into position and scale this down a bit, and just kind of move this down along the surface of our vehicle. So something kind of like that. Just little details like that can help you. Alright, let's go ahead and build an entry pad for the car here. Now you can try to build this into the car, but let's go ahead and create a cube. Okay, we'll kind of scale this up. Okay, let's go ahead and add some divisions here. And a few divisions this way and a few divisions this way. And let's go ahead and select those edges right here. We'll scale these out. Let's do the same thing for the top and bottom. Unselect that top one and that bottom one. And just scale those out. And let's insert another edge loop right in here. And now let's take these faces, just these. We'll leave a little bit right there. And we'll go ahead and extrude that down. And again. And one more time. And now let's go ahead and add an edge loop right in here and grab these faces on the side. And we can pull these out and make sort of another piece to this. And deselect this guy. And since this is square, we don't have to really worry about adding our resolution in here. It's not going to affect our model that much. And we can go in and add edge loops right in there. Okay, and now to hold this line, make these square, bring some resolution across here. You could also just leave this as a polygon. There you get a nice little shape with that. Okay. And then we could come in and extrude, maybe extrude this up. So just something interesting, just in kind of an interesting shape. And we can put it up here. You could either put it on the canopy itself, or we could put it right here on the side here by the door. And just kind of scale it down a bit. And we'll rotate it to kind of match that angle there. And rotate it along the X as well so that it can kind of match that angle. And pull that down into the surface. You might want to scale this down a little bit. There you've just got like a little entry pad. You can just another little detail in there that will help sell the car. All right, we've got a reflector. Let's go ahead and build a kind of a logo. So I'm going to get a cylinder and bring that up, scale it up, and I just want to shape it into sort of a logo shape. So feel free to do kind of whatever shape that you want, and I'm going to do a particular one, but you feel free to make your own logo shape. And I'm going to dial my subdivisions down to maybe 12. Go to the top view, and I'll just shape it into something interesting. So maybe bring these together, maybe kind of echo that shape on the front that we have, and do something like that maybe. Just something interesting. Go ahead and take that down. Let's select those faces on top. And again, this is sort of something that we've done several times. We'll just kind of extrude that in to create a ring of new faces that we can utilize. And scale that in. And then we'll go ahead and push this in. And down again. And then one more time, we'll scale this out and kind of bring it up. Alright. And then we can come in and insert some edge loops wherever we want those, and take out the back of this guy. Just delete that. Don't need those. And you can smooth it to see what that's going to look like. add one right in here. And if you want to sharpen up any of these edges, you can redraw this on the interior. So I can get rid of these and these lines. And then we can come in here and sharpen some of these lines up if we want to. And then we'll take this and put it down on the front of the vehicle. So again, I'm just kind of giving you some ideas. Feel free to make your own shapes to put on here. Make it your own. Scale that down a bit and rotate it. Okay. And then we might want to throw a bend on there. So put a nonlinear bend. Go ahead and move it into position. Now if we check this, it's curving it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it that direction. A bit more. And just bend it ever so slightly and push it into the surface. Okay, that bends probably a little bit too much, but you get the idea. So we've got kind of a reflector, a logo, we've cut out the door, we've added a panel. You can see that I've added just a little bit of resolution up here. So just take a look around and look at some of the edges. You can also, you've probably got some messy geometry like I have underneath here, but now's the time we can come in and start to fix some of these. And so up here, for instance, you can see we've got a big end-gon and some loose edges floating around, so we can start to reconnect these. So I'm just going to insert an edge loop, take my split polygon tool, connect that, go ahead and start to connect some of these up, and delete that guy. And so you can just start to connect things underneath here. Now that we've got the main shapes built out, we can actually worry more about getting the topology so it will work for us. We can start to draw across here and start to just connect some of these guys up. So just take a look around and see what you've got going on underneath there, if you have any geometry left over. Because what we're really worried about is getting this shape right up the top. You can go ahead and draw that over to the center. So just take a look around and fix that geometry up using your insert edge loop tool and your split polygon tool also. One other thing we can do is to add a mirror in here. So let's go ahead and just take this, and let's say we want to make this our rear view mirror. It's kind of an interesting idea. So we'll go ahead and just bring that in. And then let's push it in slightly. And once again. And we smooth that and get that little shape in there, which is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and add kind of a name logo to the back here. We can do that by going and using our text. So if we open up text, you can just add whatever name that you want. I'm going to add just a inertia, and you can select the type that you want. I'll just use kind of an Arial, and let's make it bold, and we'll make it a larger font. And you see you have a lot of font options that you're able to utilize. So you can, once you've got those set, go ahead and click OK. You've got your curve here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a bevel. And there you have a lot of options for doing your bevels. And we'll look at changing those options once we have our text in there. So I'll go ahead and create. And you can see here, if I zoom in on this, that this has been created. So we've got a big end-gon for the front of these letters, and then we've got this sort of bevel profiles here. Now if we go into our bevel plus, you can see I've got width, depth, and extrude depth. Okay. If I look at the extrude depth, you can see that that changes how thick those letters are. Okay. If I change my depth, It's kind of the depth of the bevel itself. Okay, and then the width of the bevel. You also have profiles, okay, which you can change on the inside. The outer edge, you can make those rounded. We can take our width down to maybe 0.1. Take our extrude depth down 0.3. 0.3. Something like that. So you can utilize the fonts that you have, and then it gives you a nice little beveled, some beveled letters there. And then if you want to, you could go ahead and kind of put these on the back. Now, we might want ours a little bit smaller and a little bit more spaced out. As you can see, if we scale this down to where they'll fit, they're very, very small. So what we might want to do is go in here to our text and add a couple of spaces in between here. And maybe one more. Kind of spread that out a bit. Go ahead and create that. And then you can see, I'll go ahead and spin it around 180 degrees. Center my pivot. And pull it up to there, and then add that to our vehicle. And you just stick it right in there wherever you want it. If I want it to kind of come across on top of this area above the exhaust, I can bring that in there like that. And then you can sort of center it. If you want it completely centered, you snap it there. And there you've got a nice little name for our car. And you can add one maybe over on the side with another logo to just add to a little of the details to the car. Alright, so those are just some of the types of details that you can go in and add from the modeling standpoint. So in the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and finish that out, but in the next lesson, let's go ahead and start to add our car paint materials. One thing I should mention, and we'll talk about it, we'll mention it at the beginning of the next lesson, is the fact that we've been using the smooth preview. Now that we're going to start to render and start to add materials and things to our car, we need to be aware that, for instance, on this body, I have this as a smooth preview, but when I render this, it's going to render as its low polygon counterpart. So what I need to do is go to convert smooth mesh preview to polygons, and then that will render properly. Okay, so when we go to render, that's what we're going to have. We're going to have all of our smooth mesh previews converted to our high-res polygon mesh. Okay, so let's go ahead and in the next lesson start to add some materials. We'll start with a nice car paint shader to the main body of this car. So we'll see you in the next lesson.